Hello, everyone, and welcome to the OEdit Salesforce Process Guide. My name is Chase Sheehan, and I am the Enterprise Zone Program Manager for the state of Colorado. The purpose of this video is to provide you resources on how to navigate the entire Enterprise Zone tax credit process. The very first thing that you'll need to do is go to the oedit.my.site.com/s webpage, which will take you to our portal login. This step is important for creating an account and is how you will access your pre-certification applications as well as certification applications. If you do not already have an account, when you're at this page, select Not a Member. This will take you to the application custom registration. Here, you'll enter your email address. And then hit Next. Your first name, last name, and phone number. And then you'll enter the name of your organization. If you are trying to connect to an existing organization in our online portal, please make sure to enter it as it exists in the portal. Otherwise, just create an organization and enter that as well. In this case, I'm going to enter my name, Chase Test. If the system identifies an existing account in our online portal, it will show up as one of these selectable as an option below. If the organization is not shown, select My Organization is Not Shown and enter some information about the organization itself. So here I'm going to enter the work address of the location, the postal code, and the phone information. You can also enter the website. Once you've entered all this information, you'll be reached with a confirmation screen with all the information that was previously entered. You'll hit Submit. And now your registration will be reviewed by one of our Salesforce administrators. They are typically approved between 24 and 48 hours. You'll receive an email prompting you to create a password, and then you can log into our online portal. Please note your username for registering to the online portal will be your email followed by .oeditcc. So please make sure to enter that for your username. Once you have logged in, you'll be greeted with our welcome page. For the Enterprise Zone program, the first step is to fill out a pre-certification application. This step is required by law in advance of any activity in which you're hoping to claim Enterprise Zone tax credits. To fill out the Enterprise Zone pre-certification application, in your navigation bar, select More. In the drop-down that shows up, select Enterprise Zone tax credits, then select pre-certification application. From this pre-certification application, you're going to enter information about your business. So notably, the pre-certification application needs to be completed every year, and it can be completed up to 90 days in advance of the business tax year start date. If you did not fill it out before the tax year start date, that doesn't mean you are ineligible for Enterprise Zone tax credits. It just means that you're only eligible for tax credits from the date that you have this pre-certification application filled out to the end of your tax year. So here I'll enter information for 2025. Business location. And then you'll enter the taxpayer ID type. It could be an FEIN, SSN, or ITIN. You'll enter the ID number here, the name of the business owner or representative, and then the business telephone number, which could be remembered, as well as the business email. Next, you'll select which enterprise zone your business location is in. If you do not know what enterprise zone your business location is in, or whether or not your business is in an enterprise zone, you can navigate to our program page, oedit.colorado.gov/EZ. On this page, we have an interactive map where you can enter an address and see, as long as your business locations falls in any one of these colored areas, it means that you're in an enterprise zone and therefore eligible to claim enterprise zone tax credits. So here we're going to select the Denver EZ. You have two options in terms of how you enter the enterprise zone location. You could do it by a location with just a street address, or if you are pre-certifying multiple locations within the same entity, you can select description and enter multiple addresses by attaching an Excel sheet. Now we'll enter the address information. And then the county, and then hit next. Now we'll enter the NAICS, the North American Classification Sector, that best represents your business. You may refer to the census.gov/NAICS page to get information about what classification your business falls under. So in this case, we're going to enter retail trade. Next, we'll select the NAICS code that falls under our business type. So we'll say baked goods stores. And then finally, you're greeted with an attestation where you're saying that you are certifying that you are aware of the Enterprise Zone program. The Enterprise Zone credits are a contributing factor to the startup, expansion, or relocation of your business, and that you acknowledge that this pre-certification is only for activities that commence after this date that the pre-certification is granted by the local Enterprise Zone administrator. You agree to that statement above, as well as enter the legal name of the business owner or the authorized official filling out the pre-certification. Enter the title of the business owner or authorized official, as well as the tax preparer name. If you are the business owner and filling out this pre-certification, you can also enter your information as well. And then finally, the phone number. Once you've completed all these steps, please submit the application using the link below. And now we can see that the EZ preliminary application was successfully submitted. To check the status of your pre-certification application, in the navigation bar above, select Applications, and then select Preliminary Applications. Here you will see a list of all the pre-certifications that are associated under your business account. We can see that the pre-certification that I just submitted shows up here as submitted. And there are several others that have been already reviewed and approved by the local zone administrator. You're going to use this PAR number to fill out the certification application that is associated with your business. So we're going to note and copy this PAR number for the next step. At the end of your tax year, when you're ready to fill out the certification application, please navigate to the navigation bar again, select More, Enterprise Zone Tax Credits, and then Certification Application. And with that pre-certification reference number that we just copied, we can type out that information and select it from the drop-down here. We'll see some verification that about the tax year beginning date and end date to help you identify that you've selected the correct pre-certification reference number. If you click Next, you'll be greeted with information about the pre-certification, so you can further verify that you've selected the correct pre-certification to create a certification application. And this will be ultimately where you get a certificate. So we can see that this is my business location in the Denver Enterprise Zone for 2024 1/1/12/31. So now that I've verified that this is the correct pre-certification application, I can hit next. This question is asking, when did activity begin for the business location? This is for when the business activity started at this location, not just your tax year. So in this case, it was January 1st, 2020. So I'll enter that there. Hit the next button. Now we'll be greeted with jobs and compensation information for the business location. So we'll enter, I started the year with 1 employee, ended the year with 2 employees, and 0 employees were transferred from another Colorado facility. 2 were full-time employees. You enter their annual compensation information, their average hourly, and then any other information that applies about your business and the employees found therein. So once that's been filled out, you'll hit next. This is the page where you'll select all of the Enterprise Zone tax credits that apply for your business. In this case, there were only 2 tax credits that I'm looking to apply. So we'll select them here as the investment tax credit for investing in depreciable business personal property, and then adding a net new employee to my business location. So once you've selected all the relevant tax credits, you'll hit the next button. You'll enter information about the total capital investments that qualify, the business made, and then the total amount of qualifying investments that qualifies for the investment tax credit. And then we'll hit next. The next tax credit that we're filling information about is the new employee tax credit. So we had an increase of 1 employee over our last tax year. The Enterprise Zone program grants a tax credit of $1,100 per net new employee that was added during this time period. There are also additional credits for that same employee depending on whether the business is an agricultural processor. In this case, it was not. And there's also an additional credit if the business was in an enhanced rural enterprise zone. To check the status of an enhanced rural enterprise zone, you can also refer to the oedit.colorado.gov/EZ page and check the county's EREZ, Enhanced Rural Enterprise Zone status. In this case, it was not as well. Finally, you'll enter and attest to the information that the information submitted is true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief, and that all information is provided is applicable to the business facility location and taxpayer ID identified herein and relates to the pre-certification period. Next, you'll enter the legal name of the business owner or authorized official, the title, and then again, the tax preparer information. If you're the business owner, you can enter your own information here as well. And finally, the phone number of the tax preparer. Then when you hit next, you'll be greeted with a confirmation screen where you can review all of the information that was submitted. If you're okay with all this information, you can hit the submit application. If you need to go back at any time, you can hit the previous button or locate on the right-hand side to update any of this information. Once we've verified that all of the information is true and correct, we will go ahead and hit submit application. Once we have submitted an application, again, if we use the navigation bar, we select more, Enterprise Zone tax credits, we can see information about the EZ certification. So we again select more, Enterprise Zone tax credits, then we select completed EZ certifications. We can see that there are 2 certifications that were approved. One was already reviewed and approved by a local Enterprise Zone administrator. To actually get the certificate, all of our certification applications are reviewed by local enterprise zone administrators. And once they have this approved status, you can navigate to each individual certification record by selecting the certification number in the list that dropped down. To navigate to the certificate itself, you select the individual application. Next, you select the funding award associated with the certification, which you'll find on the right-hand side of your screen. And finally, you can see the tax credit certificate that was approved for my business location. You'll use this certification PDF when you file your taxes and use the form DR 1366 is where you'll claim enterprise zone tax credits. So you can download this information and use it to fill out your taxes. Those are all the steps to claiming enterprise zone tax credits. My name is Che Sheehan, and I appreciate your time listening to this training. Hope you have a good rest of your day.